is up, everybody? This is a K9SL live episode. See, this is episode 4, I believe. So new to K9SL live, basically what we do here is we just talk dogs, mainly protection, sports protection, and just have a good time. So I got none other than K9 Matt Rogers. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, man? Big Mike.
So oh, these are great, man. I just got done getting my ass kicked in the gym for the last couple hours and just got up the hill. So things are good. It's a lot of, you guys are what, 3 hours ahead, right? Being on the East Coast?
Yeah, we are. It's 4 o'clock over here now. So things one by you, right?
Yeah, about one over here. I've been seeing on like on Instagram, you guys is APPDA in season right now?
Yes, I mean it's trial season. I think for all dog sports, it's pretty much the same season. So we open up early spring, even a little bit sooner than that. I think the first trial was 2 weeks ago, and we'll go all the way till pretty much end of November.
Awesome. And you are, so not only do you compete in APPDA, but you're like you're the president or you're like on the board of it, right?
I'm a director for the Northeast region. Yes.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So that's in my questions for later. But let's get a quick like intro as far as who you are and everything. I know most of you, most people who are watching this already know who you are aware of you and everything. But you're located in Jersey or New York?
No, I'm in Jersey, Kearney, New Jersey. It's about an hour from, not about an hour, maybe like a half hour from the city, from New York City.
And then you do everything from pets to protection, pretty much even security. I remember I saw you guys during the pandemic days, like you guys were out there actively doing security work.
Yeah, that was wild. I mean, I started, doing the pet training stuff and doing Schützen IPO or whatever they call it now, in 2002. And then that really wasn't my thing. I mean, I learned a lot from it. Don't get me wrong. I did it for a long time. Decoy for a lot. Helped title some dogs in IGP, whatever they call it, today. But it wasn't my thing. I was more into suit sports and personal protection, stuff like that. So I kind of developed my own style just from training, traveling, and then learning from some older guys. And it turned into what it is now. And then when, rest his soul, George Floyd, when he was murdered and they started to riot and loot out here, I mean, that's a whole nother deep story and topic, but Saks Fifth Avenue had hired us, the APPDA guys, to Chai Nero, to come out there and do security, and that was the only building in the whole neighborhood. Everything else surrounding it was pretty messed up, but they never touched Saks though. And obviously it was from the dogs, man. People they're terrified of dogs because when you do personal protection, you have to learn human psychology to a degree, and I'll tell people this stuff. If I own a club, I'd rather a guy who's 6'7", 340 pounds, who really can't fight that well, but he can do just enough, versus a guy who's 5'5", like Bruce Lee. If you don't know Bruce Lee, he's going to be getting into fights all day long at that door.
that's for damn sure.
Protection is really about deflecting. It's making people fear. So my experience in the streets with dogs, people fear the dogs more than they fear a gun, because when you have a gun pointed at somebody, you're still dealing with that person. But when you have a dog dealing with its own entity, you have no idea what that dog's going to do. Even as trainers, we could do 1,000 reps, but when it comes down to a real moment, there's no suit here, there's no decoy going back and forth. We're talking about a real moment. You just don't know till you see it. And the people really respected that element. I mean, even the cops were standing behind us, and we're just dog guys. We're security, but we're dog guys. So that was a wild experience. Really put your training to the test.
I mean, and that's a kind of segue into like the APPDA. So that's why I haven't on the West Coast. It's not really out here just yet. But every time like I've traveled to, because I travel and train in like the Mid-South with Jacques and those guys in Allegiance, and then I've trained in like New York and everything. And APPDA is more prevalent there. But that's one of the scenarios I really liked with APPDA, especially after talking to Ty and hearing. He called me one day when I first started the sport through a friend of ours, Max Tran, and he was like kind of, well, obviously, Ty really well. So I got like 2 words in, and then Ty just went off, like started talking for like 30 minutes straight about everything. And I, to this day, like, because I've been a big, like, I've known of Ty for a long time, never personally met him, but since he was in
Mm.
PSA and titled that Corso in a 3.
Yeah.
So I've always
Yeah.
had lots and lots of respect for him. So when he called in, like kind of give me like, the rundown and everything when I was starting Street League, I was greatly appreciated. And I was watching like, the way that you guys work out there, and just the scenarios and the presence essentially that you guys bring as like helpers and handlers, or as helpers and the decoys to the dog. So, the dog actually wants to like, he wants to get the man. Like he's in there, it's a little bit different because, my background when I first started in protection stuff, I was in pets, and then I went into when it was still called Schutzen, and I think it's IGP now or IPO now. I'm not too sure, or
Yeah.
whatever name they got on it. I went into that and seeing the different elements and switching to it, and because of my combat sports like history, I was drawn more towards the suit sports, all that other
Right.
fun stuff that came with it. But I always found that real interesting. And you kind of answered like my first question too. Was like what came what came first for you? Was it the sport work, or was it personal protection? But I think you said you started in Schutzen first, right?
Yeah, I did. I mean, what drew me to it's funny because I was so clueless. I didn't know anything. I didn't know you could be a dog trainer for a living. I'm from the ghetto. Who fucking trains dogs and gets paid for it? You know what I'm saying? Who could
Yes.
actually do that? So when I heard that it was dog training, I found a business card and I was at a diner waiting to be sat as a kid, like 18, 19. And that's when I went there. So I figured when this guy said he did protection training and Schutzen, I thought that any dog that bit a sleeve must have been a straight killer. I was scared of him. I
Yep.
was scared of him. I didn't know any better. So I figured that Schutzen was like the be all end all. Like, man, this guy is the truth, man. These dogs bite these sleeves and stuff like that. So I had a lot to learn. And the more time I spent doing it, I seen it was more, point based than anything. And I seen people stray away from the dogs at that time that I liked, because the hardcore killers. I see these professional guys with 20 years, 30 years in going, they don't really like it. And I'm scratching my head as to why, because that's the one he's dangerous. He'll actually bite you. But knowing it's a business and it's a German Shepherd business, and they want these
Yep.
points dogs that everyone could easily handle and flip. And, this dog is shits him 320 times, whatever, for breeding purposes. So it started to just kind of turn me off. Plus the crowd, honestly, too, when I would go to these trials, it would really just kind of put a sour taste in my mouth. And I don't know if it's like that today, so no shade towards that world. But at that time, it was very uppity, nose up, and it wasn't really my
Yep.
type of crowd. And that's what turned me more towards like street stuff. I'm like, I don't have nobody doing this. There's no crackheads with a whip. The people that I'm training with that come for me for help at that time, if I got 2 or 3 people that I was working with, they needed stuff that was really serious. A lot of these dogs wouldn't even perform on concrete that I was
Yeah.
working with, field dogs. So that's what kind of turned me on to the street stuff.
It's funny that you said that, like, just right there, how like a lot of these dogs wouldn't even perform on concrete. When I first started building like Primal Canine, and we weren't in a training field, because like I said, I went from like the shelters doing like the shelter dogs, the rescue dogs, and then going into Schutzen, which was mainly performed on the field.
Right.
And I was lucky enough to have a mentor who won. He did like the trials of Blunderseegers, he did the nationals and worlds and all that other stuff, but he also he liked mean dogs. Like he liked dogs that would like still get you. So like we would always do like I remember like one of the first bites I took that weren't on a sleeve was a freaking gauntlet bite. Like remember like the old school leather gauntlets, like like
Yeah,
the old.
that's freebie right there. It's almost like a real bite.
Yeah. So he got me with one of those with this rod, and I was like, God damn! Like I was a little bit afraid after that, but
Wait, it was a
yeah, that was not fun, bro.
bite too. Was a Roddy. He mangled my arm with an old like Kmart bite suit. I had no idea what this shit was. He just said, "Put your arm like this and stand there." And I stood there stiff as a board, and the dog hit me, knocked me down. And by the time I took it off, I had like a golf ball. It looked, because it was no gauntlet. It was a shitty suit. You know how we do the same shit, Mike. We be doing
Yeah.
that to the new boys too. You know what I'm saying? So he was
Yo.
just trying to say that. So that's funny that your first bite was a Roddy too.
Yeah, it scared the crap out of me. But kind of even going into like that, like you see these dogs who are like really impressive on the field. Everything looks good, point systems. They know the routines. They're
Right.
even familiar with the same helper, or helpers that come into the club. And then you put them in a different area. So when I started Primal, like everything was in a warehouse. So we were in like these little kind of grimy little areas. these warehouses are coming in. Dogs that were performing on the field really nice weren't doing so well in these areas. And we started
Mm.
cross training that. And even like hearing some people like they didn't really want to train with us because like, oh no, man, like they're training in the alleys. Like that's not like, not where like, my dog's gonna perform or thrive well. And that's kind of where we started coming up with our own style of training and working these dogs because no one else was really doing it in these areas back then. And like now it's like, we've trained a lot of really nice dogs who are ready for the street and still can compete on the field in these environments. And I think like that's something that's been big. And I've noticed even in the last like, decade or even let's say like 7, 8 years, a lot of transition in training has been, in these areas and a lot more influence into working in the streets and all that other stuff. But that's like, again, why we created the street league stuff on the West Coast with the sideshow that we have now. And then, the one thing that really drew me to APPDA on the East Coast and like some of the decoys that we've worked with out there is, that thought process, that mentality of, real world scenarios and environments. And I think that's something that's really cool with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's necessary too because I mean, it's still a sport, so there's a routine, and if the dog has seen it a couple times, yes, that can be considered help. I mean, if you have a bite suit on, technically, it's helping the dog. You know, it's just training time, right? But a lot of APPDA is taking the stim away from the decoy, and that right there will throw a lot of dogs for a loop. I've seen dogs titled in other sports not engage on an entry level courage test because the decoy is not bringing any stim. So I mean, you know what that means, but I guess I should clear that up for anybody who
Yep.
doesn't. The decoy is not yelling. There's no jug. All of these things are cues for a dog that will incorporate those things and think it's prey, it's fun, it's bite work time. Now you take that away and you got a decoy that gives absolutely no feedback but direct eye contact, like, come on, I'm gonna fuck you up as soon as you get here. That alone screws a lot of dogs' heads up. They come running on the field, and you see them ears come up, and you see them slow down, and they're barking because there's no prey there. So
Yep.
that's more realistic because no one's gonna, unless the guy's an idiot on the street antagonizing the dog, no one's gonna open up and give a dog a target. It's not happening. So if your dog wants to bite, he'll make it there. If your dog wants to fight the decoy, he'll make it there. If he's looking for an easy bite and he doesn't see it, well, that's something you need to train for because that sport will expose you. It definitely will expose the relationship between you and the dog. It'll expose you as a handler, and it'll expose the dog too. And in all fairness, you know what I'm saying? But if your dog is trained, if you train thorough and you don't train for patterns, you just train for a good relationship and clear communication, you'll be fine, man. I mean, you'll walk right through it.
It's fun, and I like the no stim on the dog, especially like on like something that's simple as like the face attack. Like
Right.
and that's where we developed when I developed the face attack for Street League. I thought about like all the different sports, the suit sports, right? Like all the different elements of it. It's easy. A lot of times, like you said, it's when the arm is up and you're basically flagging an area, a target. It does make it a little bit easier for the dog to engage or know what to do, and the prey is there. But when you have a decoy who's just squared up and just looking at you, and there's no presentation, that's a whole different element. The dog has to kind of need and want to engage and get into that fight, especially with no like previous agitation. So we did that with there's a couple different elements just for leg dogs in the Street League when it comes to the catches, but everything's very much like straightforward, looking at the dog and trying to just get into their mind and not yelling and screaming and running and everything.
Right, all of that stuff adds prey. Even the movements with the courage test, it's not fast. Now, granted, we have, like any sport, you have some decoys that have more experience than others, and you have some decoys that just naturally have a very confrontational presence. I mean, it's just some people just have that. So we try to teach with the courage test. We're giving the dog time to think. We're not running, an IPO courage test where there's movement. The dogs get stick hits in IPO. At least I think they took that out, but at one point they did. But it's fast. It's over in 5 seconds. With PSA, I know it's maybe an 8-second run. It's all prey. They're just going for a prey ride. With the APPDA, the difference is that it's slower. We get underneath the dog. We're making eye contact. We extend the bat. We show a threat. We don't lock the dogs in. We give them an out. This is the easiest thing for you to do is to let go. So the dogs have to be conditioned to that. Very, very few dogs are just going to walk into that and say, okay, I can do it. So it's not about somebody's dog being better than others. It's just a way of training. So if you take away the help, the dog passes in scenarios where there's no help for him, it's far more likely to succeed on the street. Because remember,
Yeah.
you're dealing with the street. And a lot of times I like to train, depending on the scenario, Mike, with decoys who aren't really any good. Because the better decoys, I know I'm not really a good trial decoy because I'm so used to helping that when at times when I shouldn't help, I instinctually I'll jump back a little bit. That's helping the dog. So a lot of times I like to use decoys who really don't know nothing, but I know they can't physically hurt the dog because these guys can't help. So that means the dog's doing everything. And in those situations, to go back to that security, the security job, these aren't dog people. This is real life. We got 500 people marching down, filled with rage. The last thing you need to do is have a dog that either can't contain himself and incite a riot because someone feels threatened, or
Yeah.
you damn sure don't want a dog that's going, wait a minute, I've never seen this. Where's the suit? Where's the whip? Oh, I'm buckling. And we're doing this 10 hours, 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So
Damn.
that type of training really proofed all of those dogs out there. They were all really set, but because there was no help. The dogs are looking to fight with you and not looking for a bite. And that's a difference in protection in the suit sports. Dogs are given bites versus taught how to actually fight. A lot of dogs love to bite, Mike, but as soon as there's
Yeah.
confrontation, like, oh, this, they're like Malleys, a lot of pits and stuff like that. They're bred to bite stuff. But when it comes to confrontation and conflict, they can't take it. And this sport, when you train like that, slowly introduces and gets them used to that type of stuff. So it can be very helpful on the street when you train that like that way, that with that style.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that you said like you incorporate like sometimes having a decoy who's not as experienced is actually is beneficial for the dog because
Right.
they can't help you because the same thing that you said where like you sometimes being a trial decoy is not as easy because you just have that training decoy mindset sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I do that same shit. Like well, we did the sideshow, which is like a 1 day only invite only. We did it in a warehouse in Los Angeles for Street League right beforehand. And I was sick as shit. And we had a decoy out. So I ended up decoying one of the scenarios. And it was essentially like, I was hiding in a room, just kind of a passive scenario. Dog comes up, and then you hand him a sleeve, and you want to basically put him on a leash and take him down to the handler. And like, it's essentially just give the dog the sleeve. Oh, you don't want the man, take him out with you, right? Dude, my ass and like the first 2 dogs, I couldn't help it. Like the dog just kind of there and like, just kind of moving it. I moved the sleeve a little bit, turning it into prey and stuff like that. Next, I'm getting bent in a suit, and then I'm starting to work the dog. I'm like, shit, not what not
Yeah.
what I'm supposed to be.
What you're supposed to be doing. But yeah, you're right. It's hard, man, because we build dogs. We're helping build decoys for how many years? So it's just almost like even when I'm talking to you about it and I'm watching your movements, you're helping in your own head, just telling me the story, and I'm doing
Yeah.
the same thing. So I definitely get it. I'm not the best child decoy in terms of that particular sport because I'm so used to just even the slightest movements, man, can make the difference. So I like to use the newer guys as long as it's the right dog and I know they can't hurt the dog or anything like that. Put them out there because you don't know shit. The dogs gonna have to figure this out, and that's what they have to do on the street too sometimes.
Exactly. Do you have I know you have Ace, right? That's their main guy, right?
Yeah, my old man, pretty boy Ace.
How old is he now?
I think he'll be 7.
Dang.
End of June. Yeah, yeah. And Ace was a fluke, bro. Ace isn't even a working dog, dude. I didn't even want a fucking working dog because you know how that shit is. Even
Yeah.
with pits, you working line pits, man. They're like Malleys a lot of times. So I got like a link from some show breeder, and I'm like, yo, these fucking dogs are pretty as shit. That's all I wanted. I want a nice looking dog to hang out on the couch with. And I'm a dog guy. As soon as I got the dog, I'm like, oh look, he chases the ball. Let me see if he'll bite the rag. Let me see if he'll do this. Next thing you know, I got this fucking show dog who's bred to just sit there and be pretty, and he does pretty good work. He did pretty good fucking man work, man. Loved
And
to
you have
do
him
obedient train, so he
and
was pretty good.
and you have him titled pretty high too, right? In APPDA?
No, I only got to the one. I think I did the one 2 or 3 times I passed with him. We did high in obedience, high in protection, high in trial. He did very, very well. But then when I was prepping for the 2s is when he tore an ACL.
Damn.
And then that's like, man, I talked to 2 different vets and they were like, listen, man, he'll live a totally normal life if you just leave it, pray him for a minute. So if you do the surgery, there's like a 50% chance the other one's gonna go too. And I just kind of just say, yo, the dog earned it. Plus, like I said, that dog's not bred for work.
Yeah.
So the reason that this is important is because I noticed once he hit about 3 years old, even in cooler weather, like 60, 65 degrees, the dog would get so geeked up to work. His eyes are bloodshot before we even start working. So that's why I never went down south to compete in any of the sports down south. I think they got the throwdown in Atlanta because I knew the dog was going to croak in the heat. He just was not good with the heat as he got older. So I knew it was coming to an end sooner or later, but the ACL thing threw me for a loop. So I mean, he did. The dog earned his stripes, man. He lives a life on the couch, bro. Eats table
Nice.
food. Yeah, he's doing good.
Living that retired sports life.
Yeah, he earned it.
That's awesome. And you have another one. We just talked briefly about a while ago or a week ago. You're saying your new guy. You're getting him ready, right?
Yeah, we're going out there in 2 weeks. I think the 20th is what, 2 weeks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
are getting there.
Yeah, so 2 weeks. So he'll be going for his entry level. That's Rowdy. He's for anybody who don't know, the mother is a pit bull, game bred pit bull. The father was a Pressa Dutchie mix, and he produces fairly well. Rowdy's a good dog. I mean, he's kind of one dimensional in the sense of he's a gangster. Loves to fight, loves to bite. Obedience, that's a whole nother story. Very handler sensitive, but he's a very good dog when it comes to the bite work stuff. He's phenomenal with that, man. But he's a lot. He's a lot.
Yeah, I saw you and Andre working him. Like you posted a while ago, and it looked like a nice little pup too when he was younger.
Yeah, there was two videos where Andre worked him on a table when he was like 5 months old, and then there was one we just did recently at 203 K9. Shout out to my man Steve, and shout out to Andre Carmichael too, man. We worked him at 203 K9 spot with Steve, where
Nice.
it was like in the back of a shuttle bus. We just had a good time. But Andre's an awesome decoy. He knows how to put pressure on a dog. He knows how to read. He knows when to come off. But Andre loves that dog because he can beat the brakes off if he wants, and the dog loves it. He lives for it.
That's the name is fitting then, huh?
Yeah, it really was, man. Because I had a shout out to BBK Kennels. That's Bull Vision Kennels in the UK. I'm not sure where exactly, but they bred them. I built a pretty good relationship with them, and I said, look, it's a scatterbred dog. It's a mutt. It's a band dog. You know, it's
Yeah.
all these different crosses. The chances of it working out slim to none. I know it was a gamble shipping the dog in with how expensive that could be, but I said, let's just go for it. I said, if you want, send me the dog you keep. And they were like, bro, at like 3 or 4 weeks old, they were like, it's a little early. Obviously, it's very early, but said this one is different. And then by 7 weeks old, he was just a gangster. Man. I got him off the plane. He was with the shits with me. Right as soon as he came off I opened the crate and he's ready sitting there barking at me. I really couldn't touch him much. I'm like, okay, we'll see. He looks promising, but he grew up to be exactly the way he was as a pup. He really never changed. He was always the same dog.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, they got some nice dogs. I was talking to you about getting one for
Right.
them too. The
I
nice dogs.
recommend it. If you can get the hook up with the shipping, like I said, for anybody looking to import a dog from anywhere in Europe, be ready because that shipping will get you. But from what I've seen in other dog trainers that I know, Josh, I can't remember his last name. I can't remember his Instagram. This is what happens when you push 40 guys.
Yeah.
But I know he's got a bull herder that he said is very good. The dog looks good. So I hear good things. I've seen some good things. So I mean, I'm happy. If they were stateside, I'd buy another one for sure.
That's awesome, man. I know you're kind of my tipping point when it came to, when I was like talking about it. When I started seeing you with your dog, I was like, all right. I was like, everything I've heard about Matt doesn't, he don't BS. So if he's still keeping that dog and feeding that dog around, that dog must be nice. So I was like, got it.
Yeah, and listen, anybody that's been in the game long like we are, you go from overlooking a lot of shit and being hopeful, let the blood prove the dog, let the blood to now you're like, bro, I'm looking for a reason to get rid of your ass now. So
Yeah.
please show it. Please show it now. I don't want to waste a year. I don't want to waste a whole bunch of training and vet bills and feeding them. I'm just like, there's nothing about him that I can't say
Yep.
anything bad. He's a little ugly. That's about it. But other than that, I mean, he was solid all around, man. He was very solid.
It's funny that you said that because like my fiance, she's also like the GM here at Primal, and we get a lot of dogs in and we import a lot of dogs in the beginning. She was very similar to like, all right, let's just give it some time. And I've been in the game for like a long time already. So at that point I was like, nope, get this thing out of here. We're done type of a thing. And even now, like within this last like 2 years, she's transitioned into the same stuff. She's like, not ain't even good looking enough to keep. So we gotta get rid of it.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. For anybody else watching, I'd like to clear that up just so no one puts an animal in an unfair circumstance. It's like we're in this so long. Think of it like guns, man. You got a gun that's like the best sniper rifle in the world. Does the regular guy at home need that? No. Will you even enjoy the things about it that make it so great?
Yeah.
No, you won't even notice it. So just because the dog isn't cut out for top-notch fucking dog trainers or people who are doing high-level stuff does not mean he won't make a dope-ass pet that'll do the job at home. So for anybody that's there, don't feel like, well, yeah, Mike and Matt, man, they probably wouldn't keep it, so I can't. That has nothing to do with it. If you like the dog, you
Yeah.
keep the dog. And for us, we've seen this shit so many times. It's just like, damn, all right, we don't take it personal. Dog got to go. He's got to go. That's it.
Yep, exactly. And the thing too is like, with us, especially like in our businesses, a lot of what we have, a lot of dogs that we do have, especially in sport or personal protection or whatever it may be, that's the calling card. That's that's our a business type of a thing there too. So,
Right.
it has to be a business decision as well because we are in the business of dogs.
Yeah, you can't talk the talk without walking the walk, and we do need good demo dogs. I mean, honestly, my dog Rowdy's probably not the best demo dog. He's very flashy and obedient away from a decoy, but he's just dangerous. So, but for somebody like me, I could see that coming a mile away. You could see people, and it really isn't even about controlling the dog. It's about manipulating the people around you. Like, don't come up. I know all dogs love you. I know you had dogs that you were little, but trust me, this one isn't gonna like this. So, but you do need a dog that'll represent your capabilities. Absolutely, we need that. So that's why guys like us, for those viewers who aren't really in the game for that long or maybe still green, that's why we are that way. It's not for any other reason.
Absolutely. And one thing I think I'll let you say right there is, especially when you're newer in the game and you're getting into the dog training world, and like at least for me, and it might be the same for you too. But when I first started, like I had all my dogs that I had were just like shelter pits or like off breeds that we got. Like I just kind of learned from dogs who may not have the total package, and it helped me become a better trainer throughout those years, especially when I was figuring everything out. Just working with those, it added more to my toolbox and forced a lot more creativity to what I have.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, man. Those are the dogs, bro. I mean, you know, if you got a team full of Michael Jordans, who knows how good this guy's coaching abilities are? Like when you got all-star players, it's fairly easy to look good, but you'll absolutely learn more for the younger people out there who are getting into dogs. The shelter, I think, is one of the best places to learn. So you're not going to learn training, but
Yep.
more important than training, you're going to learn body language if you pay attention to it, right? You're going to get an array of genetic and environmental influences that are completely unrelated. So you'll see a lot. You'll learn handling. It's a very good spot to start to get your feet wet in terms of learning how to read dogs. But those types of the dogs, like you said, those are the ones that make it good, because there's sometimes you're going to draw a rock from a blood. I mean, you're going to draw blood from a rock. With these dogs that are bred for it, it's easy. Okay, you just crack the whip, show the rag, they're biting. Congratulations. But do that with a dog that wasn't bred for it, wasn't raised for it, doesn't show any interest in it. Those are the dogs that make it. So learn to live and love that uphill battle when it comes to those dogs. Those are the ones that are going to separate the people that really love it from the ones who are just doing it because it's cool on Instagram.
Exactly. No, they make you earn that. That's for sure. And
Mm-hmm.
then even let's talk about training too. So do you do for your company, how can people get a hold of you if they want to train with you? Because I know you do everything from like pet stuff to behavioral cases, protection too. So what's the name of your actual company?
It's just Camp Jersey K9. I got the website, campjerseyk9.com. Find me on Instagram. The website is there. But yeah, I do all types of training. But 90% of it is house pet stuff.
Yeah.
The heel, sit down, don't chase the bikes, don't chase the car, don't bite the mailman, don't do this. And Mike, what we do more than anything is we're teachers. Whether we wanted to admit it or not, we got into this
Yep.
because we like dogs more than people. Again, for the new guys and girls getting into it, don't get into this because you don't like people. Because
Yeah.
you're gonna dislike people more. Because most of this stuff is about, all right, 30% of it was training the dog. Easy. Now you gotta stop the enabler from enabling, and you got to get into the head of the person so you can teach them, and they can carry on. So this is what most of it is teaching people. But you can find it on Instagram, K9Mat1_, and the website is on there, campjerseyk9.com.
That's funny.
Pets, leash, protection, name it.
That's funny that you said that too, because we have a mutual friend in Katie Matthews, and we talk
Yes.
about we talk about that all the time because he helps like a lot of young dog trainers, and it's always funny because like I do a lot of apprenticing. I have a lot of people come in and shadow, and it's always that the key statement all the time, and it makes me laugh every single time I've heard it. It's like a million times. It's, man, he's like, I just want to work with the dogs. Like, I don't really like people. I'm like, well, this isn't your industry because that's what we do.
That's all we do, bro. And it goes so deep. I'm sure you've seen it, KD. Uncle KD, that's my third uncle 2 times over, by the way. So, but fucking KD will tell you, like, you'll sit down with people and you're having an all-out therapy session with the person. You're sitting there sweating, like, holy shit, this lady's talking to me about some stuff that happened when she was 12 years old, and that's why she does the things that she does with the dog. And now you're a marriage counselor, you got a whole married couple fighting, and you're like, fuck, I just came here to train Biscuit, and now you guys are arguing. 2 months later, they're getting divorced. So it's crazy, like, because you can't lie with animals. There's a reason. They don't have the ability to lie. So you start peeling back all the whys and you go, lo and behold, here's the problem. And that presents itself to them. So yeah, you guys want to get into the dog training, guys and girls want to get to the dog training because you don't like people. Maybe do something else, because this is all 100% about the people that you deal with.
Exactly. Shout out to Katie, Uncle Katie, on that note.
Yeah, I'm surprised he still trains at his age, man. What is he, like 70 now? What is that guy? He's up there.
I think he just celebrated a birthday not too long ago too. I'm gonna have to give I gotta call him later.
Yeah,
So I'm
KD
definitely gonna...
is super. I love the guy, man. He's super fucking knowledgeable, very well spoken, real articulate, really knows how to communicate. That's my boy though. So anybody watching, that's why I'm busting his chops, because I know he'll see this.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. He's actually the lead commentator for Street League too. Have you had a chance to see any of those videos?
I haven't. When it comes to the social media stuff with the dogs, I don't watch anything with dogs. I'm gonna watch your shit because you're coming here, so I'm gonna be prepared for that. But I haven't. But I definitely need to do that, because that is something I actually am interested in dog wise.
It's fun. It's really cool. So I mean, like the whole thing with Street League, because Katie's been a part of it since the inception of it. Once I first started talking, because we were doing drinks and dogs, just basically when the whole pandemic thing was happening, because we were all locked up. So we started talking about the drinks and dogs after Oscar Mora, and I just said, like, let's just go. So we brought it in, and obviously Katie's great with words, and he's extremely knowledgeable, and he's been in it for a long time. So it was like the perfect thing. So if you guys get a chance, or anyone, even people watching this, we have a bunch of YouTube videos of him and Bob just commentating as the sport's going. So you have live commentary on the scenario, and who better than freaking, I can't imagine anyone else better than KD to be doing that right then and there.
Really, man, he sounds like he does Old Spice commercials. He's just good with that shit. I think all sports could benefit from that, because I know when we do APPDA, when I did the PSA a few years ago, and then the Schützen many years ago, even myself, when I think my first PSA trial I saw was like 2003 or 4, I had no idea what I was looking at. And if you pay attention to the people that are there, that aren't competing, or active dog people that just there to support, they're always asking, well, what are they doing that for? Like, what's the reason for that? So to have a commentator, that's major. That, especially somebody that can break down whatever he's going to break down, because he could take something so grand. I mean, that's what all of us teachers do. Something that's very grand, we simplify for the common folk to understand. So that would be extraordinarily helpful, I think, for all dog sports, for somebody to sit there and break stuff down like that. And it keeps you interested in those breaks in between. You're setting up for the next scenario, whatever like that. That's perfect. That was a good idea.
Yeah, man, it's real fun. We got the last one, we had him, Bob Owens. He's a gun dog guy out in New York. And then we had Matt Wilson from Ray Allen, since they're the main sponsor of Street League, and it was all three of them on there. It's pretty cool. Like the way I kind of like envisioned it when we set it up was, just how like you said, like, you go to trial, you don't really know what's going on. People are asking questions. And I wanted it to be simplified to where if you watch boxing, if you watch, you watch the UFC, you watch any of the things, you have like pros who are now retired, who are commentating, providing live entertainment as things happening, but also can break down why they did this, why was this happening, the strengths and weaknesses in the dog or the team, or what was going on, why this was judged that way. So it could be viewed as an actual like sport, and it can bring in a new crowd to educate people, and there's more of a breakdown than, dog just flies down and bites some dude, or whatever it may be.
And that's important, because especially the industry, the way this whole country is turning right now, if you have a commentator explaining a stick hit with a hollow bat that you got for 25 cents at the dollar store, it really helps people understand, like, you're not wailing on the dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't what you may perceive it to be. if you have no experience with this type of stuff. So
Yep.
when someone can sit there and break that down for someone, I mean, it could really, really take the edge off of stuff and get people who otherwise might not like it and turn their nose up to it to really be interested in it and maybe even want to participate in it. Once you see like, this is a fun thing for everybody involved. Yes, it's stressful because you got to get prepared for it and you got to stay on top of your stuff. But it's a family outing. I mean, everybody comes to these dog events. We got little kids running around. Everybody's having a good time. There's nothing to hide here. So to have somebody that could talk people through things that otherwise might be off-putting if you don't know better, that's major. That's actually a good idea, man. I got my wheels turning a little bit right now.
Dude, man, I'll send you the how we have it all set up, bro. Take a look at the video. I have a whole like media crew how they put it together. It's pretty easy. I'll have to send that out to you.
That's something I might have to think about some things, because that could be really helpful, man. That could help it a lot, because you know how it is today. I just seen a video of a guy get fired at the airport for correcting a German short-haired pointer in a harness. I mean, he was correcting the dog a little hard, I guess, but the harness. The dog wasn't even paying him no attention. And somebody seen it on camera, fired him for it. It's like, Jesus, what are y'all doing? Do you want the dog fixed or not? Like, what the hell? You can't do anything anymore without somebody saying, I don't like the way that looks. But perhaps to have somebody break it down, oh, that's not too bad. I guess it's not bad at all, to be honest with you. So that was clever, man. That was clever. It's really entertaining.
Yes, sir. We got more on the way. Speaking of more on the way, what do you have planned for the rest of your year, sport wise, with APPDA or anything else going on?
Well, I got a couple of guys that are green, never been on the trial field ever, that are gonna be competing. I'm more into what they're gonna do. I want to see them kind of flourish. One is a young guy with my boys too, Mike, New Jersey K9 training on Instagram. I think that's the name of it, but he's training under me for a while, and he's really into it. Good kid, honest, loves the art. My other guy, Joe Devils, then he's a construction guy that's obsessed with the dogs like the rest of us weirdos, and they're just so dedicated. My boy Ant, he's doing a level 1 with his shepherd. So I want to see these guys go. So I want to do the EL, which is the entry level for the 2 new guys. Both of them never been on the field. The other guy we're going for is level 1. I'll be going for my EL. So we're just gonna keep progressing, man. And once we get to the level 1s with these dogs, maybe shoot for the level 2 or try to get them into some PSA trials just to, put some notches under their belt. But I really just want to see them kind of take off with that.
Awesome, man. Then
guys,
we'll be out your way for the first street league, I guess, first street league trial in New York this fall. So hopefully get you guys out there.
And that's what, Buffalo, right?
Yep.
All right, we can make that. That's only about 6 hours from me. And we've been to Buffalo a couple of times with Trent Harris, one of our APPDA guys. So that's nothing. That's like a weekend trip, man. It's a weekend getaway. And all of these guys are eager to learn, and everybody talks big about you. You got a lot of fans over here, Mike, by the way. Big up to you, bro. You do your thing. You shake it up. Everybody talks about Primal K9. Yes, my man Mike Jones. I even got you in my phone as Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones. And every time I hear your name, I gotta say it like that, man. But yeah, you make a lot of noise. You got a lot of respect. You always have my respect. You can recognize, man. As soon as this guy, he does this shit for real. So that's we'll be there. I'll definitely be there. I can't promise that all of them will be, because they're family guys too, but I'll definitely be there.
No, for sure, man. Appreciate it, dude. Freaking that's why one of the reasons why I had you on here. And like, you know what, when I first hit you up, I was like, man, it's about time. I was like, I gotta start talking to Matt. I was like, we've been, communicating through Instagram and stuff like that, but you can always see who the real ones are.
Yeah, it's a passion, man. I mean, I don't know if it's a passion or an addiction, but you could see one crackhead to another. A lot of guys really obsessed with this shit just like me. You can't fake it. I mean, you can to a degree until somebody real comes along, and then you just see it. You recognize it. Yeah, I always had that. I always thought you have to get it.
You got to give the nod when you see it.
Exactly, especially in a world full of fuckery, man. I mean, shout out to everybody that's really trying to do it. It's just a really crowded and flooded industry right now, so it is refreshing to see, somebody like-minded, same story pretty much. A lot of years in, it's always good to see, refreshing.
Hell yeah, man. It'll be cool too once we kind of get everything going throughout the United States, and some of the stuff we have worldwide coming in. A lot of things pushing, and hopefully we get a APPDA out here on the West Coast too, man.
Bro, we've been waiting, man. I talked to my boy JPK9, very good dog trainer. He's got the right mindset for it, but I think with the West Coast, it's so spread out. I talked to a couple of guys in the West Coast, and One of my peoples out there, he was saying, "Oh, nobody gets along out here." I'm like, "What the fuck? Just put it together. Somebody
Yeah.
put it, grab it, put it together. Me and Ty will come out there. We'll help set up, and we'll get it going." But it's really just right now. It's just the East Coast thing. We hoping for the same thing that it kind of spreads, man. But what's next for you? So you got Buffalo, and then what else? Where else you going with it?
So I have actually, so we have in 2 weeks, I have pro camp coming up, which is the thing we do to start the season off here. What it is I have like all of the pro decoys come in. So what I did with the decoying is, we do the certs. We did the certs, 3 of them, and whoever certifies, they become a pro decoy. And what that means is, they basically get paid, or they get paid to come out. It's like $500 a day, and then we take care of all the flights, hotels, food, everything's pretty much taken care of as if they're a pro athlete. And then pro camp, we break down like the workouts and stuff that they should be doing while they're not with us, how to manage basically their clubs, the scenarios. We break down each individual scenario, just different techniques, basically make sure everyone's ready for the season. And then we start picking decoys for the trials that are coming up. This one, we're doing the first invitational decoy cert. So I had people go on Street League, the Instagram, and do hashtag K9SL cert and show them decoying. And then we invited 12 decoys out for this cert at our facility in Gilroy. So we have that coming in with that pro camp, and we're gonna put them through it for a couple days. I have my background before dogs, or well, during dogs, was I was in like combat sports, boxing, and mixed martial arts. So I have my strength and conditioning coach I've worked with for that many years is Omar Lima. He's going to be the strength and conditioning coach for the Street League decoys. So he's going to be
Very much
introduced to
needed.
them. Yeah, and then give them all the stuff to go. So we break down, things for training. Like I'll go through some of my theories and applications for certain dogs facing certain problems, helping them, find basically problem solve if they have dogs in their clubs who are maybe lacking in a certain area.
Right.
And then we do the workshop with the 2 judges, Oscar Mora and Rich Aquino,
Okay.
right after that. And then we're going to go into 4 different trials before we end up on the East Coast, or in New York, which will be California, Texas, Houston area,
Okay.
Memphis, and then Florida, the Deltona area. And then we'll end up in Buffalo, New York. So
Well,
a
that's
lot going
big. So
on
you're,
with
you're
Street
all
League.
over the place. Yeah, man. You're all over the place.
Yeah, man. We've been building it. I kind of wanted, I just wanted it to be like these fun events. The thing too is like, I started in Schutzen, and you know how that is like back then, it's over, about 20 years ago. It was very, kind of people with their nose in the air. And like, at that time, I was just a kid from the hood. So, looked like this, but except much younger. But,
Right.
so people kind of turned their head away from you. So I wanted to create a very like,
Exactly.
all-inclusive, fun event that you can bring your kids to. Like, I have an 8-year-old daughter who loves dogs, and I wanted to come out and
Right.
have a good time, and, family, and have food, music, all, commentators. So we took a couple years to really build the foundation of it. And now it's just about bringing it to the other parts of the United States, and soon to be the world. I have a seminar that we're planning for Mexico City towards the end of the year or beginning next year too. So we're rolling with it, bro. Got a bunch of stuff going on with that, and the Ray Allen stuff. I have like some new gear coming out, and actually this shirt just dropped with Omerta today. And so keep hustling, bro. That's all we can do,
Yeah,
train
yeah. Just
dogs.
keep evolving. That's dope though that you're spreading it, man. You're gonna have other people like, you know, start doing what you're doing, or from your own creation and thoughts. That's dope, man. Because I feel you on that Simpson thing. That's why when I was younger, I didn't care for it. I'm
Yeah,
trying to ask people some stuff, and it's just like you said, nose in the air. So this isn't really my crowd. And clearly, they don't like it like that. They'd rather you not be here. So that was important, man. We do the same thing with APPDA, man. We got soccer moms competing with guys just like you and me. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
everybody's there, and the same people that we're talking shit to, and we're making fun of, we're training with them. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So we're kicking each other's ass, but at the same time, we're really out here training with each other, and then screaming at them off the field. But I told you, you got to do this with those. So it's just everybody trying to help each other, man. That's really what it's about. It's always been that way. I don't know why it has this like dark look to it, but it's just really a family oriented thing where anybody can come in. Everyone, every single person is going to help you out. Everyone's going to help you out. Now, that's kind of like the same thing that you're doing, man. It's just an open invite. Just come out, learn, and have a good time. But you make people want to come back. That's the thing.
Absolutely. Can't have we want positive experiences and see in a positive light, and then they want to keep going more and more and more. So I like that about the APPDA stuff too. For everything I've seen online about it, and just like even like the barbecue, the meetups, and everything. Some of my guys always talk about some of like the meetups you guys have over there, and how like it's just chill, fun, family event. And so next time I'm out there,
Man, I'm
bro.
telling you, yeah, you'll have a blast, dude. I'm telling you, have a blast, man. It's like we're not even all the way finished, and these guys are cracking up, and it's like, dude, we still gotta do this here. But yeah, it's always a good time, man. A lot of people who don't compete just come out to hang out and shoot the shit because there's connections made with everybody. It's not like click here, click there, click there, which I hope it stays that way. And with
Yeah.
growth, you never know. You roll the dice when it comes to growing. You just don't know what direction it might go sometimes. But I really hope it stays that way because as of right now, with APPDA, we got people down from Florida all the way up to Connecticut past that and out in the West a little bit that'll come out there and help you just because. Like, oh, I'm training
Yeah.
with the APPDA guys. And that's something I hope really just stays the same. So that's why we build, but we build slow. Rather the quality. I know it sounds so corny, I hate to say this, but rather the quality over quantity.
Hey, that's man, and that's there's nothing as most people would know me and my style. Like everything's very fast, like we're constantly working. But if anything that the starting a sport has taught me is really like it's slow, man. Like that's the only way you can properly like actually like build it right, is because so many things happen, like putting on these trials, so many events, certifying decoys, starting clubs, managing clubs, helping people out. In order to build a strong foundation, you got to take it slow. So shoot, man, more power to you guys for all that stuff.
Yeah, you have to. That's what got to shout out Ty. There's other people that helped resurrect the sport because he wasn't the creator. I forget who created it many years ago, but he resurrected it. And I don't know where the guy gets the energy and strength from, but I mean the guy's all over the place with it, man. Anytime somebody wants to set up a club, he's out there. He's setting up. He's doing mock trials. He's doing decoy camps. This guy's 50 years old. He's all over the place. You never know it. So he's just that devoted to him. So when you see that, I got to give that back, and I got to make sure whoever's coming in, obviously not many people can match that, but at least come with that enthusiasm of check the ego shit because that will absolutely get stopped at the door. You come here to learn because no matter how good you are, no matter how long you've been doing it, somebody's going to expose you somewhere for the sake of your betterment. Not to be like, see, I told you. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It really ain't like that. No one's going to go online unless it's somebody else. But anybody that's there at those trials competing, we're not doing that shit. We're there to help you. Because if I know this again, this just sounds so corny, but the ones who do bad are the reflection on us. So there's
Yep.
things we got to teach you, whether it be the dog or be you. But that's how every single event has always been, which is why I devoted myself to it. It's like because I'm not a breed guy when it comes to dogs, and I'm not a how would I word this? I'm not like there's not like a specific sport I chose because of my friends. I became friends with these people because of the way they move. I didn't get into the sport because I fuck with Ty. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So just like a breed guy, I wasn't really a pit bull guy. And I'm still not a pit bull guy. I just like dogs that work. So there's a small amount of breeds that will actually do the work that I like. So I kind of stick to that. Same stuff with the sports. I like the way they move. I like the way that there's a lot of pressure, but they navigate you through that. And what happens after that? Now you can actually teach. You can't teach when everything went easy. What are you going to teach? You didn't learn anything.
Yep.
You learn when you think all your shit was together, and it gets exposed, and you go, damn, everything I thought, my dog wouldn't even sit. I said the
Yeah.
wrong name. My first trial, I told Ace Packen or Platts or something like that. He was trained in English. But when the pressure's on you, it just you don't know. You get scatterbrained. But that's the only way
Yep.
you grow. If you can't move under pressure, then you ain't moving. And that's what I liked about that the APPDA. And the way Ty works and with the way we help each other out, man. Because you can go there, you can go anywhere. You can do anything and probably do it very well once you're successful there. That's why I do it.
Oh, absolutely, man. I like how you said, like, especially how, like, Ty works, and like even like talking to you. Yeah, when we first started Street League thing, and I had never met Ty, never had any other conversation with him like ever before. He got my number through a mutual friend of ours, and then he calls me, and like we start talking, and I'm like, and he's just like giving me a bunch of like information, and like just being super nice, down to earth. And like he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to spend 45 minutes on the talking to me and like on the phone, like, or anything like that, but he did it. So always got, not like I didn't have mad respect for him before, but like I had tons of respect from him and his association and everyone he associates with as well, just because just for that one particular moment.
Right. I mean, he's selfless like that. And I mean, it kind of trickles down to the rest of us. I mean, you guys will be exhausted. And then somebody will bring another dog. I'm like, let's see, you know how trials are. You do your trial, you go through the routines, and then at the end, everybody comes out and wants to work dogs. it don't matter. Like our decoys, even me, we're all banged up, but we could be exhausted. You start bringing dogs out, we're working, and we're tired, but we're sitting there getting bit. We're coaching you do this, do that. So, and that stems from him because it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how long the guy's been on the field. He'll work the last dog like he did the first one, and it's just for you. He don't sit there and bask in the glory. The guy just walks away. So I talk about him a lot because that's the base and the foundation of the resurrection of sport, and that influence has kind of trickled down to a lot of us, man. And I'm trying to keep that same thing going because it feels good to know, like, yo, these guys got your back. It's not like you're gonna come out here and get embarrassed and we're gonna laugh at you, ha ha, ha, go back to your car with your shitty dog. No, like, come here. Let me tell you why this happened. And then it's such a reflection and learning experience in itself. But I want to continue to do that.
Hell yeah, man. Well, shit, you guys got my support, brother. Well, fucking
I
we
appreciate
got.
it.
I got to let you go here, man. I want to say thanks again, man, for taking time. I know you're a busy dude, so taking time out of
No
your
problem.
day and chatting with me for an hour. Again, let me let us know or let the people know how to get a hold of you, get in contact with you.
I got the website Camp Jersey K9 CAMP Jersey K9.com, and then the Instagram is K9 Matt1 with the underscore. Pretty much that's it. Everything else is I think I got a Facebook page. I don't really use it though, but those are the main ways we get to me.
Awesome, brother. Well, for everybody else watching this on YouTube or on Spotify, all our podcasts, make sure you guys share, comment, like. Make sure you check out Matt and the APPDA crew. And again, guys, thank you for watching episode 4 of Not Drinks Dogs, K9SL Live. And yeah, brother, I appreciate you.